All right, Brian, man. Thank you for being on the JV Rambo show. I'm super excited to have you. For people who don't know who you are, you're Brian Gutierrez. Uh, you're a kickboxer. They call it crew in kickboxing. You're a jiu-jitsu practitioner,
Yeah.
and you're on the Pankration Team USA. And in fact, you have a championship coming up in Romania this coming October.
Yeah. I think it's October 26th.
So how did you get into pancration? Pancration, as I understand it, is a form of wrestling and striking, and it originates 500 years before Jesus in Greece. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Um,
How did you get into that?
so I started my MMA journey in 2009 at a gym called Team Flores Muay Thai, and I trained there for a year. But I wanted to get more into MMA. So when the UFC gym Rosemead opened up in LA, I transferred over there, and I got to meet Joe Camacho. Rest in peace. He passed away.
Yeah.
Um, and I got connected with a guy named Sensei Anthony. He was teaching Muay Thai, but he was also a third degree black belt in pancration. So he kind of introduced me into the pancration game, the pancration tournaments, competitions, and I got sunk in ever since then. I started 2000. I started 2009, so it was like 2010 when I got into pancration MMA.
Wait, are you from the Los Angeles area?
Yeah, I'm from California.
Oh, no kidding, because you live in Texas now,
Yeah, I live in Houston now.
Houston, with your family.
Yeah, my wife and kids.
Oh, okay. What brought you guys out that way? Did you
Um,
leave like everybody else during
COVID.
the,
Yeah,
what do
yeah.
they call it? The exit California?
I was definitely one of the first ones. Yeah,
You know, where people left.
yeah. Definitely one of the first ones. I think it was around like May when we left California. It's more a different feel. It's only different for the kids, and the family.
How was with the training out there? Was it different from what the culture, the fighting culture, different from what you experienced out here?
Well, that's a good question. So, like, being from California, I mean, there's gyms in every corner. Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai. I believe California is like the mecca for MMA and Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And I feel like Texas, they have some. I'm at a great school. I'm at Gracie Barra West Chase under Professor Upiano, and that's a great gym. But I feel like there's a lot of potential out here because it's not as growing and strong as it is in California. But it's a lot of potential, a lot of potential for growth.
Hmm. And the students that you have now, you're a black belt teaching there at the Fight Club, right? It's called the LionsDen Fight Club.
Yeah, LionsDen Fight Clubs is my thing. Yeah,
How long have you been a black belt
I just
in
got
jiu-jitsu?
I just got promoted. I think to black belt about like a couple months ago, like 3 4 months ago.
Oh, so it's new.
Yeah,
That's fantastic, man. Congratulations.
thank you.
And that's no easy task. People who train jujitsu will know just will have an idea what that takes to be able to accomplish something like that. So
Yeah, most
um,
definitely.
that's quite a big deal. When did you start teaching? As a brown or a purple?
I started teaching. Let's see. I was at Mount Sac when I got an opportunity to teach as a blue belt as an assistant coach for the jiu-jitsu program out there, and that's in California. So I got my feet wet a little bit doing that at the Mount Sac College as an assistant, and then as a purple belt, I was an assistant coach at UFC Gym La Mirada. And then when I got out here, I just started my own brand in 2020, which was the LionsDen Fight Club. And yeah, then I just started my own brand, start doing my own coaching out here.
Is Lions Den your gym?
Yeah, LionsDen.
That's
Well,
your gym.
yeah. So Lions Fight Club is my gym. We're inside another facility, partnered up with Sugarland Sports Center, but that's my fight team and my brand. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. It's funny you said UFC La Mirada. I hang out. I'm there every day. I coach at the City of Industry UFC for Jiu Jitsu,
Oh, nice.
but I hang out at the La Mirada one because they got a sauna,
Right.
and
Oh,
as you know, the facility there is amazing.
yeah. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, it's
I've
one of
been, I've been around UFC gym since the beginning. I think since it came out. I think it was 2009 when they came to Rosemead. No,
yeah.
2000, yeah.
Well, they said I was talking to somebody yesterday. I think it was maybe, and they were saying that the one in La Mirada is one of the biggest in. I don't know if they said the world, but maybe they said the country. I guess it's because they got pretty good sized mats.
Right.
I didn't think they were the biggest in the country. But anyway, I love that facility. It's, shout out to USC La Mirada.
For sure.
So you started Lions Den,
Right.
and what type of challenges did you have to face in order to actually get your brand off the ground? It's not an easy thing, you know. Most people only see the end product of
Right.
somebody's success or when they're coming up. What type of challenges did you have to face when you were trying to market your brand?
It was pretty tough, and it still is, because like coming out here from California, no one knew who I was. In California, I had a lot of friends, a lot of teammates and coaches knew who I was out there. But coming to a new state, nobody knows who I am, nobody knows my background, so there's a lot of little doubts here and there, like, who is this guy? Where is he from? But the LionsDen Fight Club is basically it's my brand, and I'm trying to teach and mold the new generation of fighters. But at the same time, it has a message behind it, because we're representing Jesus Christ, Daniel, the Lion's Den. So it's a lot. It's definitely a spiritual thing too. Um, so yeah, coming out here, starting the brand, it's tough. It was tough because no one knew who I was. But as I have this personality where I mingle with different coaches, I go to different gyms, I go to open mats, and I post a lot, I share, and I'm open to everyone. So by the grace of God, God's been opening up doors left and right, from sponsorships to tournaments to God has always opened the doors up to me to train under the right people, to have the proper sponsorships, and just the right doors opening up. And God gets all the glory for that.
Amen. Uh, Speaking of your faith, how did you come to find Jesus Christ? Have you always been a Christian, or is this something that
No,
came around later in life?
no, definitely not. I was lost I was born lost, but
Hmm.
I I got saved in 2007. I grew up in the city. Well, I grew up in Bassett, which is inside La Puente, which is known to
Yeah.
be a gang. It's a gang-affiliated neighborhood. Um, Obviously, I had some hardship, coming up in a bad neighborhood. Uh, Needed the Lord. I was broken, and the Lord just revealed Himself to me in 2007. I started going to church, got saved, and like everything else, man, if God is real, which He is, He alters that. He just alters your perspective and everything.
Hmm. Uh, you had mentioned, or in your bio, you were running with. I hope you don't mind me saying this. You had mentioned that you grew up in Bassett, which I happen to know where Bassett is. That's a tough neighborhood.
Yeah.
You got yourself caught up with gangs out there.
So I was more of a tag banger, and I had a
Mm.
lot of friends. Actually, a lot of friends that were from Bassett, and unfortunately, a lot of them passed away. Some of them were incarcerated. But yeah, a lot of close friends from Bassett. I was more of a tag banger. I was part of a crew called BSK, the Bassett Street Kings, and there were the different names for it as well. We would go around basically tagging everything up and just causing havoc. So yeah, that was a dark time in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely relate. Uh, how old are you?
I'm 41 now, by the grace
Okay,
of
we're
God.
about we're about the same age. I'm gonna be 46 in a couple months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, man. There was a lot of movies about gangs. Like Blood In, Blood Out.
Right.
Uh, what was the other one? Colors
American
and
Me.
American Me. Like all this gang banger lifestyle was being glorified in the movies.
Right.
And a lot of kids I knew were falling into that, uh, getting themselves into trouble, thinking that that was like the cool thing to do.
Right.
Uh, and like you said, some people didn't make it out of that type of lifestyle and end up costing them their lives one
Right.
way or another. Um, and so I'm always interested in how people get out of their predicament, especially when they're caught up with gangs or tagging crews and things like that. Who was it, or how did it happen that you started to turn yourself around? I know you had mentioned that your grandfather uh, was a big influence on you.
Most definitely. I think that I believe because I had a really close relationships with those guys from Bassett, and I was, part of the tag banging thing. If it wasn't for my grandfather, I probably would have joined the big boys for sure.
Mm.
Um, he had such a short leash on me, and I was like I mean, I was rubbing shoulders with these guys. They're like I knew these kids since we were first grade, second grade. And but my grandfather, by the grace of God, he always had a short leash on me, always took care of me. Um, and towards the end, where I was getting really close, man, I was getting really close. I think it was like my junior year. I met my wife, and yeah, she was the one that really had that tug on me and pulled me away. My grandfather and her were a big part of my life that made me, turn from that lifestyle. And it's
Now
weird
you,
because that's when it got real dark too.
why is that?
That's when I started losing a lot of friends. So like I think I was a junior, I was getting really close, and then my wife came into my life, and then she started pulling me in a different direction. We are just dating, and I started losing a lot. I think I started losing my friends around my senior year, graduation year.
Yeah, that's where you went back to high school.
Yeah, I went to Bassett High School.
Yeah, man, that sounds rough.
Yeah,
That's
it was rough.
now it. Now, did you end up being raised by your grandfather?
Yeah. Keep it short and brief. My mom, well, my grandparents always raised me, but my mom kind of gave me up when I was like in the seventh grade, and that was like official. So they kind of just raised me from there completely.
You mentioned that because you're with Team USA for the pancration, and
Right.
I know in your bio it says that you want to coach uh, on Team USA, correct?
Yeah.
Someday you want to be the coach, but you said something interesting in the bio. It says you want to follow in your grandfather's legacy. Was your grandfather part of the pancration team, or?
Well, when I meant that, my grandfather, when I said I want to follow my grandfather's legacy, is that he had a heart. My grandpa was also, he had a heart upcoming. His parents also gave him up. He was raised on the streets.
Mm,
Kind of the same backstory with me, but back in his day. And he had a heart for the youth. He had a heart for me. Anyone that any lost kids, he always reached out, and that's the same heart that I share with my grandfather. And that's why I'm using jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts to reach out to these kids through Christ. And that's what I mean by that.
gotcha. Now, I'm interested in the fact that you got this championship coming up in Romania. Is that, are you going as a team, or is it an individual uh, competition that you're entering into?
It's actually a team thing. I had to go try out for it, so I went to Dallas out here. Well, I had to drive to Dallas and then try out for the team. So it's definitely a team effort. It's a bunch of us. I think it's like 56 of us on the team.
I'm sorry.
I said I think it's like 56 members on the team.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what did you have to go through aside from? I mean, how did you get yourself to that level? If right there you cut out, the internet was a little
Oh,
down,
okay.
but from my experience, it doesn't show up in the recording.
Uh-huh.
So if you saw me there with like a deer in the headlights,
Yeah.
it's because you cut out. But I was hoping to catch you at the end of what you're saying.
Okay.
So, uh, what type of training? Like, what does it require? If somebody, for example, if somebody wanted to be on the pancration team, or to get to that level, what type of mindset, what type of training, what do you have to go through to be
Well,
able to make it to that level?
the first thing is discipline. You got to have discipline. That's the most important thing. And you got to have heart. With those two things, everything else comes. Training, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing. You definitely need your wrestling. For MMA, I highly recommend wrestling. You need that wrestling background. And showing up in the gym, a good diet, and being dedicated.
How does one get discipline? This is there's days where I wait. I like to run at 3 in the morning, right?
Right.
As a form of disciplining myself. I used to post them all the time. I used to post them on Instagram or whatever. I haven't done that lately. I plan on doing it again. But there's days where I'm like, snooze, and I just don't do it. I've
Right.
gone every single day. How does one obtain discipline? Where does it start, and how do you develop that?
Well, there
In
it
your,
is.
in your opinion.
In my opinion, it's exactly what you said. It's the moments when you don't want to do it. It's when you wake up and you hit that snooze and you're like, oh, man, today I'm just gonna let it ride. Or you go to the gym. My coaches always tell me, and it's just ingrained in me. Say, you know what, coach, my right hand, I think it's busted. I can't train today. Then use your left. You got to work what's good. Maybe you can't roll today. Maybe you can't spar today, but you got to go in there and do something.
100%. I've done that. I broke my finger one time, or the pinky.
Right.
I was posting while I was rolling. I was posting, and I posted the wrong way and it broke.
Oh, dude.
And of course, I didn't go to the doctor or nothing like that because that's just how I roll.
Right.
And I trained with my hand like this on my belt, just holding my belt, and I trained with just one hand. I did that for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks.
Right.
Yeah, or I bust my knees all the time, doing like this open guard where my leg was like a shield, and they put their weight on me, and I'll just pop my knee. I don't know if that's ever happened to you.
Uh-huh.
I'll train with that stuff.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was at UFC gym. I think I was a blue belt at the time, and I do this. This is a drill that I do with my guys now, but I learned this when I was a blue belt. I got caught in a Kimura and I tore this. There was like some kind of muscle here and I tore it. I couldn't train for 6 months, supposedly.
Right.
My coach, Joe Camacho, rest in peace, he got me. He told me to stick my hand inside my belt and he tied my hand. I trained like that for 6 months with my hand inside my belt. And it's crazy because that opportunity, I always tell people, that's what helped me become, anyone that rolls with me knows I have a great guard by the grace of God, but that opportunity of my arm being torn like that and rolling with one hand for 6 months build me an amazing guard.
100%. Like you're right. There is this opportunity to change up your game and to discover something new. Because I always tell myself, it's like, man, if I have to take time off every time I injure myself, man, I would never train.
Exactly.
I'd probably still be a blue belt right now.
Right.
Because 6 months off, screw that. The first time I busted my knee, I took 6 months off, or no, actually 6 weeks off, and I was like, never again, because I'm never going to do that again. I mean, that's just too long. And, I mean, I don't know about now, because I mean, these days I only train a couple of days a week. I just like doing other stuff now. But when you first start jiu-jitsu or training MMA or that kind of stuff, you're all about it every day. But
every day, yep.
Every day. You still have that fire? You still about that?
Yeah, man. I mean, when I first started, for the first, I would say from 2009 to 2017, 18, I used to train about 6 to 7 days a week. It was a lot. It was very intense. Now that I'm 41, I still train. I still do a lot. My kids are always telling me I'm never really home, but it's because I train. I do my personal training at least martial art wise 3 to 4 times a week, and the other 3 days within that time I do my coaching, right? And then I'm always coaching guys at fights. But I'm always around the fight world. Like this is basically what I do.
Yeah, it's fun. So do you travel a lot for that?
Yeah. These last couple of since a couple of years since I've been here, in Texas. Texas is so huge. I have to go to Dallas. I'm going to Austin for my son. He has a fight coming up in Austin in a couple of actually next week. I've always traveled.
How old's your kid?
My son's 20 years old.
He's 20?
He's 20.
Oh wow, man. What is he? A blue, purple?
He's a purple now, but he's been training I had him training since he was like 4 or 5.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah.
My son, he just turned 21. He's in the Navy.
Oh wow.
He's been a blue belt for like 6 years. He doesn't train.
That's the most dangerous ones, man.
Yeah. I don't know why he doesn't train, but I wish he would, because he could be so good,
Right.
And, now, how many kids do you have?
I have my oldest daughter, she's 21, and then I have my son, he's 20, and then my youngest daughter, she's 16.
Oh, that's great, man. So you're almost done.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, you got big plans for when the youngest one's out of the house and
yeah, me and my wife have been talking about, traveling a little bit, mostly traveling and doing stuff, and I wanted to go to Thailand for obvious reasons. And, I tell her we'll go out at night for you and I can train in the morning, but
right. Have you ever done something like that? Like gone to another country to train?
No, never. I've always wanted to, couldn't because my kids were too little. And that's why this moment is so important, because now that they're older, I'm starting to like, okay, I can start doing traveling.
Yeah, I mean, I used to dream about that a lot. My youngest is 9,
Oh wow.
and when my son was 9, uh, I was already planning my trips,
Right.
uh, before my youngest one came around. And one of the things I always wanted to do is I don't know if you heard of this, the Camino del Santiago. It's a trek
Uh-huh.
where it's like a pilgrimage in Europe where it ends in Spain in the northern western part of Spain, but people walk from like Italy or Poland or
Oh wow.
different parts of Europe, and they all trek, just walk all the way to this. I'm not Catholic, but I guess there's some church out there that's the ending point. I could be wrong about that, but there's a movie called The Way, but with Charlie Sheen's dad. I forget his name, Martin
Right.
Sheen, and it inspired me, because I kind of like that outdoorsy, be by yourself kind of thing. Are you like that, or are you more of a you like the city kind of
No.
guy?
I used to like the city when I was younger in high school. Now that I'm older, I love the outdoors. I like to be out, mountains, beaches, wherever just nature.
Yeah, I love nature too. I don't get it as much as I would like to being out here in the Los Angeles area. I'm in Whittier. I don't know if you know that. But there's not too much nature around here these days.
What part of
Uh,
Whittier you stay in?
I'm in Uptown. I'm an Uptown boy.
Oh, L Town. What do you have to go to L Town when I was a kid?
It's a party.
Nah, just the shops, hang out with the friends.
It's a cool little town. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
like
chill.
it a lot. I mean, I never got out to Bassett. I was always too afraid to go in that area.
Yeah, it was a little. That place is crazy.
Yeah, 100%. Um, so tell me, what are you doing? You say you're going to Romania in what, October?
Yeah, so the plan is to be out there October 26th.
October 26th. So what do you do between now and then? Have you already started the actual training for your competition, or?
It's funny. So I see a lot of my team members and coaches that are the coaches on that team, and they just started their training. I think they said they started their training about 2 3 weeks ago. I've been in training camp since summer started, so I have this. I've always been that way. So I had my whole summer was just filled up with competitions. So I just barely stopped competing. I took a break from competition in summer, like maybe like 3 weeks ago. So
Oh,
yeah, I've been at it training. I mean, from MMA, jiu-jitsu, and just staying active, competing as much as possible. And I hurt my right knee. I'm okay now, but yeah, I had to take a chill pill from it. But yeah, I'm always in that state of mind. Be ready.
yeah. Do you wear headgear when you train MMA?
No. Oh wait, headgear like head. Yeah.
Like
I'd
I
be
was
on.
I was I was listening to somebody, and it made a lot of sense. That that it not that it hurts more, but that there's just more going on. Like, I guess when you're wearing headgear, people hit harder. Uh, I've seen two schools. I've seen schools where the guys are doing kiss contact, and it's all very friendly.
Right.
And then I've seen some schools, man, where dudes are pounding the shit out of each other and like knocking each other out, and then walking away like that guy meant nothing to him, kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
I've, I've,
What
I have
kind
a, I have a theory with that. My belief, honest, to answer your first question, I have headgear. My wife gets mad at me because I have it. It's brand new. I don't really use it.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, I believe my theory is they should be technical sparring. Technical spar is very important. Timing, technique, and accuracy is everything. You don't have to hit hard shots. You don't have to blast someone in the face. I'll be lying if I told you when I first started, I didn't spar hard. I sparred very hard at first. I was scared to spar at first, and then I liked it, and then I started sparring too hard, and then I got a lot of concussions, and I came with a lot of
Mhm.
issues as well. So I think I started getting into technical sparring 2016, 17 at Millennia in Rancho Cucamonga. The coaches there were teaching me about the importance of technical spar. Because even the guys in Thailand, they spar all day, every day, but they spar technical. Speed, timing.
Yeah, well, I like that school of thought because I feel like if you're constantly getting head injuries, it's kind of hard to train that way every day.
It is.
And if you're, I call it kiss contact. Technical probably means the same thing, but it's basically your. I'm a big believer. I always tell my students, uh, the boxing students or whatever, that form plus speed equals power.
Right.
That when you have good form and you have speed, that's where the power comes from. And there's no need to be throwing haymakers at each other and knocking each other out. I'm not saying there's never a time for that,
Right.
especially as you get a little, maybe as you know better than me, but maybe as you get a little closer to your actual fight, you start going a little harder, get yourself in that rhythm
Right.
and getting hit. Uh, but I just know me personally, I couldn't train like that. I mean, I've seen some of these MMA guys, man. Especially at my gym where I train, which is Tillis MMA, and
Yeah.
I get my ass knocked out.
Yeah.
And
I believe that the last 2 weeks before a fight, you should have like some hard training, like maybe twice a week, some hard sparring. But the most of the time, your learning process throughout the months and years should be technical sparring, where you're focusing on timing, accuracy, and technique. Right? Doesn't mean going slow, but with that timing, accuracy, and technique, that's how you grow.
okay, yeah. What other advice would you give to somebody who's just starting out their MMA career, or they're a young fighter? Uh, what does it take?
It takes heart, man. Like I said, I believe that it takes a lot of discipline. Discipline yourself, right? Because every motivation is okay, but motivation runs out. I've seen a lot of kids come in. I've came up with a lot of guys that were motivated, but once they get unmotivated and they have no discipline, they're off. And they were great fighters. They were doing great, but they got off the rail. They didn't have the discipline. You know what I mean? So discipline, heart, not worrying about getting tapped out, not worrying about not winning all your fights, not worrying about am I the best. I heard this guy say it's not about being the best in the room. It's who's left over, right? You got to make sure you just show up every day and stop worrying about comparing yourself to the guy next to you.
Hmm. Yeah. Luckily, I think I understood that from a young age about comparing, because it doesn't feel good when if you're comparing yourself to other people, and that other guy you're comparing yourself to is just going like
Right,
that. It's not gonna feel good.
right,
And yeah, that's definitely something you don't want to do. And we're all kind of like going through this thing, with the fighting is a tough sport. And the reason why I like to interview fighters or jujitsu practitioners is exactly because of what you're talking about. I don't think a lot of people realize just how uh, inspiring a fighter can be, because people don't know, like cutting weight, for example, trying to make weight, like the discipline involved in that very thing alone, just to make weight. That's hard.
that's hard.
I've missed jujitsu tournaments. Not many, but I've missed some because I wanted to challenge myself and cut weight. I'm about 220 pounds, and I was trying to get down maybe to like 200,
Right,
like drop 20 pounds in a month, where I felt short, you know.
right,
And it wasn't because I couldn't do it physically. It was because when I knew I wasn't supposed to eat that rack of ribs with potatoes or whatever, I did it anyway. And I don't think a lot of people see just how challenging keeping your weight under control is. Or when you don't want to go to the gym that day because like you said, motivation. I think you're right. Motivation is overrated. There's plenty of people who have talked about motivation compared to discipline. You're right. You're not always going to be motivated to go to the gym and work out. It's doing. I like what Mike Tyson says. It basically doing doing something that you don't want to do as if you love it. I'm
right,
paraphrasing parts, but doing something that you don't want to do, but doing it anyway. And one of the ways that I've when I don't feel like going and hitting the bag, I go every day and I hit the bag every single day, and I never feel like going. It's rare that I ever feel like going, like I want to go. And I try different things like listening to music, like Rocky music or whatever. I'll do whatever it takes. And one of the things that I've found that really helps me personally is just starting off real slow. I'll just hit the bag, like not hard at all. And I
Right.
just start going like this. And I notice after a few minutes, now I'm hitting it like this. And then I'm starting to sweat a little bit and I get into it. And then it reminds me of a quote that I like, which is, uh, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. That if you're not feeling motivated, because we never do, but if you want to stay disciplined, just start off really slow, baby steps or inch by inch kind of thing. And that's been really helpful for me.
Right.
Do you personally have anything you tell yourself or a little ritual or something that you do when you don't feel like doing something, but you know you got to stay on it and get in there, get your ass in there?
Yeah. Well, now I'm just by the grace of God, I'm disciplined now. But it came with years of training because it's been what 15 years now. But when I was first going through those rough moments, when I had it, when my job schedule was so wild, and I had to get up at 5 a.m. to make jujitsu and Muay Thai at 6 and 7, and all those rough times, it's when I would get up, the alarm would hit I would hit the alarm, I would get to the side of the bed and go, it's right, it's what you do right now, Brian, that makes a difference. It's this moment right now. What you're gonna do right now is what's gonna make the difference. You're gonna drag yourself, but you're gonna get it done. And that's what I would tell myself.
It's
If
that moment, isn't it?
it's
It's
that one
that
moment,
it's that critical moment when you decide in that very moment, snooze or get your ass up.
yup. And it's as simple as
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I think if you have you said something interesting that you're now disciplined, that you don't have to worry about it now because you're disciplined. And I would imagine that's because you you got up instead of snoozing enough times
Yes.
where now you develop a new habit. Because I think, if you snooze, that's all right, get away with it once, but you do it the next day. Now you're on your way to developing a habit of
Yes.
being a
Most
snoozer. And you know, it sounds like you're saying that you developed this habit. You didn't use the word habit, but I think that's what you're talking about, which is that over time, a period of time, by making the right decision, making decision, realizing this is you saying, I'm just kind of interpreting it,
right.
that in that moment, you're telling yourself, hey, you have a choice to make. You can go back to sleep and then you screw up. That's going to set the tone for the rest of your day.
Right.
Or you can get your ass up and drag yourself through it. Even if you have to drag yourself there, you're going to get yourself to where you're trying to go.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
It's those split seconds that makes the huge difference. And like, I'm not saying that I don't get tired. I'm older, I get burned out, but I've done it for so many years already where it's been to the point I'm burned out. I'm injured. Uh I'm going on my 6th day already. But I've done it so many times, repetition, where I already know what this feels like. I know what it's like to have a cast in my foot and jump into jiu-jitsu class and okay, I'm not gonna roll today, but I'm gonna drill still. I know what it's like to have a broken rib and still go to class and show up. Yeah, I can't spar, but I'm always training. I'm always drilling. Those moments is what made me realize the importance that when my coaches would say, drillers become killers.
Hmm.
It's 100% accurate. You just got to keep moving.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I was interviewed at a tournament not long ago. The I forgot what the guy asked me, but my advice was, you know, drillers make killers, drill, drill, drill. That there's people who will sit on the mats and they like to talk and socialize and all that, and there's nothing wrong with that,
Right.
100%. Uh, I love that part about jujitsu, especially is the camaraderie and hanging out. But I've noticed even with myself that those people who kind of keep the socializing to a minimum until after class, the ones who are drilling like nonstop. Because there's different types of practitioners. There's some that'll they'll do the technique a couple of times, and then they sit there, you know, cross-legged, talking about shooting the shit with their partner, you know,
Right.
which is totally fine. But then you got that other guy who's like, no, we're gonna get in 20 reps.
Right.
And I'm gonna get this technique, and I'm gonna make sure it's right here before I leave this fucking gym. And I've seen those guys go on to do like incredible competitions, you know, out here where they're taking home first place gold medals. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that when they're in class, that they're actually drilling and they're not just shooting the shit. Because you can kind
Yeah.
of tell, you can tell when somebody they're recreational, which is like again, like I said, it's totally fine. I love that about, especially with jiu-jitsu. I love that about jiu-jitsu that people have a place to go and have community.
Right.
I always tell people uh, that the only thing missing from a jiu-jitsu gym is Jesus, and because it has that thing that I think that churches could benefit from. I talked to different pastors at different churches around here, trying to implement a sports ministry
Right.
in each of their churches where they would have wrestling, uh, because people want to do that every day. People don't always want to go to church and sit in a pew every day,
Right.
but, but some people need Jesus on a regular, like me. Uh,
We all do.
yeah, man, I think so too, and it's definitely one of my goals to try to get the churches having that. I know I realize there's a lot of liability with that kind of thing,
Right.
uh, but I'm always reminded of the story of God wrestling with was it Jacob
It was
in the
Jacob.
book in the book of Genesis. And then, you know, if you read that scripture, it sounds because he has God's leg. Some people interpret it as an angel, but I always interpret it
Right.
as, but he basically has him in a leg lock.
Yeah, the heel hooker.
And he's tapping out.
Yeah.
And I always think about that, man. I was like, man, God's a wrestler,
Yep.
catch wrestler, and so that's why I think it's so. That's why I think so. Something really special about combat sports, especially wrestling and jiu-jitsu,
Right.
is it? When I'm on the mat, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but it's like impossible to think about anything else going on in your life when you're in that moment of fighting or wrestling. You're so focused. If you're having like a bad day, you could be on the mat and just totally get a break from whatever's ailing you. You know, have you ever had that experience?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Yes, and I'll break it down what I mean. So many people take jujitsu and MMA to it's their way to deal with stress and issues. I mean, I've heard stories from people that were going through divorces, people that were going through hardship, financial things, and jujitsu. That's what they say. Jujitsu saved my life. You know, by the grace of God, offered them that opportunity to train jujitsu or mixed martial arts. Now, for me personally, I when I was younger, I used to suffer a lot from anxiety and stress. I guess because of my upbringing, you know, always having my head in a swivel, looking behind my back all the time for whatnot. But I build that anxiety and stress up. But it's weird that when I talk to my students and we talk about competitions, they get so nervous, and it's normal. It's normal for people to get nervous, but some people take it differently. As for myself, I never feel it's one of the biggest moments for me. I feel so much peace. That's why I love to compete so much. When I'm out there and I walk on that mat at IBJF, or when I go Jiu-Jitsu World League, or even when I do the Elevate Super Fights and the lights are on and I walk on that platform, there's just silence and peace. I don't care about the people looking at me. I have this peace in front of me because all I got to worry about is the guy in front of me. I don't got to worry about the bills, the stress, the anxieties that you were talking about. And it's soothing. And I love it.
Yeah, 100%. I like that, and I think I hope that everybody can experience that because I think a lot of people, they're a little. Some people are different. I've even been this way where I'm on the competition mat and you start to feel nervous or concerned about losing. Uh, let me ask you, how do you handle loss or the fear of losing and all that kind of stuff? Like, do you experience that? And if you do, like, how do you handle? And if you did lose, how do you handle that?
That's a great question. Actually, I wanted to get into that too, and because I share this a lot with my students. So competition for me and what how I see it is this way: either you win or you learn.
Mm,
There is no losing. If you can walk into a match, if you can walk into a competition, and you win, that's awesome because you know what works. Now, if you lose and you walk off the mat without an injury, you're good because
mm,
now you know what didn't work. You know what he did that worked, and now you know what to go back to the drawing board, what to work on, and that's how you jujitsu. That's how you grow in this sport. The problem is with these young kids today, and my son has this problem too sometimes, is that they get so caught up in the back rooms or when they're getting ready warming up, like, oh man, I can't lose. Too many people are watching. They shouldn't worry about what people think because it takes a lot for someone just to step up, to get on that
100%.
mat, to get on that
Mhm,
cage, to get in that ring. It takes a lot. So the fact for everyone that steps in that realm, they already have my respect.
mm.
At that point, it's all about you. You win or you learn. And they should walk around feeling content, regardless of the outcome, and keep pushing forward because that's what makes you the martial artist that you're going to be.
Yeah, I love that. I 100% agree with you. I've often told practitioners that you're already a winner in my book just being here. It's like 1% of people even I don't know if that's a real number, but not a lot of people even train jujitsu, for example. Especially MMA, even less. You know,
Right,
when I'm at the gym, uh, the ratio between the MMA fighters and the jiu-jitsu practitioners is even less. More people are doing, but even with jiu-jitsu, it's like less than 1% of the population even does it,
right,
and then less than a very small percentage of all the people who train even compete, even have the courage to get out there and actually put themselves out there in front of strangers and people out there, which
right.
can be a little intimidating. And I thought I would get used to it over time. I never did. I got one coming up in November, and I hate competing. I just hate it,
Right.
but I still do it because it's like you got to be out there and you just got
Right.
to challenge yourself. I think it's really important for people to challenge themselves
Most definitely.
and get over that because I think it builds character and that's always something that we can use. Before we wrap this up, I wanted to add you. You're married and you have a
Yeah.
family, and I wanted to ask you. How long have you been married? And it sounds like you've been married a while,
Yeah.
which is in my book is always an accomplishment. It's something I think having a healthy marriage and especially a man who can maintain his marriage is somebody who should be, it's just something that's admirable and should be respected.
Right.
Um, and I'm married, uh, there. But how long have you been married, and what's that been like, and what kind of advice would you have for somebody who's a young married couple, things like
um,
that?
let's see. So I've been with my wife. We started dating when we were 17, and we got married. We're dating 17, and then we got married when we were 20, 21. No, yeah, 21, 22. So I've been married for I think 21 years now, strong by the grace of God.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a long time, and we've been together for a long time. And I would say the first, and this is honest facts, you could look this up. The first 5, 6 years are the roughest. That's with anyone because you're getting to know your partner. You're getting to know how you guys operate. You're getting to know what it's like to wake up to someone and to share your life with. Marriage is a beautiful thing. And these young kids today, this generation is a lot more different from our generation. Um, the dating culture is very scary. But I would say that marriage is beautiful. Definitely pray about your soulmate, and don't throw away something that's not broken, man. You know what I'm saying? Like work, marriage is work. You know what I'm saying? And keep, the same way when you're dating your girl or your significant other, keep that the same like you're trying to win them over when they're 15, 16, 17 years down the line. You still want that romance in there.
Always trying to win them over.
Always try to win them over, man.
So you don't let what you're saying is you don't let yourself go. You don't say, I got her. Now I can just not have to live up to a higher potential.
Right. Yeah, just keep
You cut out a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, keep dating her, man. Just keep it, keep it on date night every weekend. Take her out, dine her, have a good time. Because you're getting to know this person. It's going to become more like not just your girlfriend, not just your wife, but it's gonna become your best friend, someone to share life with.
You said don't throw away what's not broken.
That's right.
What do you mean by that?
So many times I've seen a lot of young couples, they'll throw away their relationships over the most ridiculous things. Like I said, I talk to a lot of my students or a lot of kids that I know, and they've told me stories where, bro, I've been with her for 5 years. I can't stand the way she chews. She doesn't understand my training schedule. She doesn't understand that I got to go out with the boys. And there are, rational reasons why things are not working. But your relationship's not broken, man. You just need to work on it. It's just little things.
When is there a time when a relationship is broken? Like beyond being able to the marriage, it's beyond a time that when is there a time when a marriage is just too far gone?
I believe, and this is my opinion. If someone gets caught in the act of adultery or cheating, I think that's reasonable reason for divorce. But even with that being said, if they're willing to work it out, definitely work it out, man.
Um, a couple more questions for you. I really appreciate you taking this time with
Of
me,
course.
Brian. And I've really enjoyed meeting you today.
Likewise.
You have a quote. You had a couple quotes, but I picked one. It says, "Do not boast of tomorrow." What does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's really emotional for me. For sure. So life is but a vapor, right? We're here one moment, and I'm paraphrasing. We're here one moment, we're gone the next. Don't take life for granted. And that can go from anywhere from your jiu-jitsu journey to competition to learning jiu-jitsu to loving your spouse to being there for your kids. Making sure that you're the better version of yourself every day, because life is not promised you tomorrow, right? You got to get after it every day, because like the word says, life is but a vapor, right? We're not promised tomorrow. What we're promised is the moments that we're living in. So make every moment count.
Yeah, I really like that, Brian. Brian, you had meant I saw that you're fundraising for Romania for your
Yeah.
competition. Can you tell us a little bit where people can, what your goal is as far as the financial part, and where people can donate? So that way we can help you get to where it is you're trying to go.
Most definitely. So on my Instagram, there's a bio link on the bottom that says Team USA, and it's $11,000 to get myself out there. So like the United States, we're the only country that has to come up with our own financing. So the Team USA is coming up with half of it. So I got to come up with the other 6,000. And I got a couple. I think I have like a month left to come up with the rest of it. So you go to my bio link, you read my story, my background, and you guys can donate there, and it gives you options.
And where can people who don't have you on your Instagram, where can they find you on Instagram?
Just go to LionsDen Fight Club. You can find me there, or you can go to Muay Thai Assassin on another Instagram that I have based on Muay Thai, and you can find me there as well. You can follow, link up.
Fantastic. Brian, I hope you hit your goal.
Thank you.
I think it's quite a journey that you have ahead of you, and I hope that we can get you to come back on the show after you win your championship out there in Romania, so that we can hear all about it.
Awesome.
And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show, man. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share my story.
100%.